So as I was doing my homework, right? Now, again, I always tell y'all all the time, I'm not the smartest person in the world. And I love to find out and discover new things. And one thing in particular that I did discover is the Baha'i faith is relatively new religion. Yeah. The teachings, you know what I'm saying, is essential to the worth of all religions and the unity of all people. Now, I say that to say this. I always relate it back to music. And y'all have probably heard me say a couple times before. Music has, to me, it has no face. It's a sound that's heard and absorbed by all, regardless of where you come from, how you live in, how much money you make, what your background is, or whatever. We all love music equally, whether you love it coming from this direction, or this direction, or this direction. And I always say that's the cool thing about hip hop, because it takes from wherever, you know what I'm saying, and we take it and we transform and we have fun. And in essence, depending on, you know what I'm saying, what your opinion is, make it a little bit more saucier and all that. But you know, at the end of the day, what we do here is we pay homage and pay respect to both sides of the spectrum, the original and the modern update. But again, we're going to discuss how some brothers from New York heard a sound from a couple brothers, you know what I'm saying, from a sound in Texas somewhere, and made some magic.
We ready.
Fire line is now clear. Oh, hold on.
Memories.
Let's get it.
If you're ready, put your hands where Miles can see.
Oh, let's get it. Yo, we are back in the mix. And if you can't notice, or if you do notice, or if you haven't noticed, you might see that it's 4 squares instead of 3. We are continuing on our little tour of this friends and family edition of the Beat Connection episodes. And today our esteemed dinner guest is somebody I know that's near and dear to my heart. And I will say that. And I'm saying it's helped me throughout my personal life, professional life, and right now my hip-hop life. So, you know what I'm saying? I would like to introduce to the panel my man. I don't want to mess up your last name, because like I said, I don't have that Spanish, you know, like, you know what I'm saying, hard kind of
just do you do what you do,
Bronx twang. But you know what I'm saying, to the people that's out there in the world, you may not know him as Staff Sergeant Murillo, or however you want to say it. I just simply know him as Mo. To his loved ones, probably Lou, or whatever y'all decide y'all want to call him. But again, he's a esteemed dinner guest today on the Beat Connection. So everybody go ahead and give him a round of applause. How are you, sir?
I am good. Thank you. It's an honor to have you guys invite me to this setting, because like, you know, we've been having this conversation for months about, you know, me coming in here and having some fun with this music.
And we about to have some fun indeed.
Let's get it.
So with all that said, let me go ahead and start back one more time. And can do to you, and to you. And to everybody out there that's seeing, hearing, being, and absorbing and listening to all this good information that we like to provide. To my left, you have the wonderful, beautiful, and somewhere in the location, somewhere far, far away, because I've noticed that something is different, but it's all good. We're still going to do what we do. Singer-songwriter, producer extraordinaire.
What's up, everybody? This is Alexa Gold.
She Princess Leia today, boy. Galaxy
right, because we have no idea. I just know them credits is rolling somewhere. So, and you already know, my brother from another. You know what I'm saying? He wears red because he's always hot. You know what I'm saying? Our lyricist, our resident ghostwriter, and we definitely try to compensate him for every bar and word and lyric that he does spit here on the show. Go ahead and introduce yourself, sir.
I go by the name of Azrael DiCaprio, the cerebral assassin of Raw Deal Squad, as always, is in the building.
In the building, as always. And Contractually, I'm obligated to do this part, so yeah, I gotta say it. Y'all know who I am. Y'all know who I am. Mr. Shizzy Shizz, the Can Do Kid. I'm just a person that sit here and talk fast and talk slick. That's about it. I just introduce everybody, and then I sit back to the far side and drink whiskey all day. So why these individuals talk music and all that? But y'all know me. And what you got, Ree?
Can't sit at the far side if you can't keep running away.
Oh. Wasn't expecting that one, but okay.
Cheers to that.
You walked me right into it. I couldn't let that.
Okay.
I couldn't let that pass me by.
Oh, we keeping them coming. We here at the B Connection. We are for the family, and y'all are our extended family. So. Yes. Family and all that. So with all that being said, we're gonna get into what y'all came here for, and let's should I just go ahead and just go for it, or let y'all just talk it up, or
however you want to do it, Maestro?
Murillo, what you got?
Let's roll. I'm here. What you got?
Go ahead. Got anyone? Go ahead. Then I guess E first at this table.
Yeah,
so what you got? Go ahead and get us started.
You handpicked this. Go ahead.
Yeah, give us your thoughts. Go ahead and get it going.
All right. So the track, like we've been talking, the track is by a super dope artist who's been rapping for probably over 40 years and sampling folk music. That's crazy. So I picked the track, Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See by Busta Rhymes.
Yeah.
It's a dope track.
Right.
It's off an album where Busta Rhymes decided to change his flow completely and makes his voice clear so people could understand him instead of just woo-ha and yelling. And then Shamello, his producer, brought out Seals and Crofts, some of Sweet Fields for this track, which I thought was genius.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Hold on, because not for nothing, and y'all don't see all of the early the kind of pre-production stuff that we talk about and go on and all that, but just in those couple bars right there, you would think he'd been doing this for a minute, but he had the nerve, the unmitigated gall and audacity to tell us that he was intimidated by talking to us because he feel like we know what we talking about. And I told him I have no clue. I just sit and listen to these two talk, and I make a joke every now and again. So
listen,
hey, he might be on to something now.
I'm gonna keep it a buck. I 1000% said, I don't need to talk much this episode. Mo got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I will say, let me leave with this because I might forget. Rest in peace to Shamello.
Right.
Shamello passed away. Relatively recently, I want to say was it last year or the year before? It was definitely during the pandemic.
21.
Okay. Yeah. Much like what Mo said, and I'm gonna hot tag in and out, but much like what Mo said, what stood out to me as far as Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See is, do you remember the first time you heard that? The very first time you heard it? It was polarizing to me because that's not what I expected from Busta Rhymes.
Okay.
I was like, yo.
Well, but you know, it's funny that you say not what you expected, but I feel like I wouldn't expect it for anybody else but Busta Rhymes.
Right. You're absolutely right. Nobody else can make that work. In my mind, nobody else can make that work. What I mean is, we've always known Busta to lead. At that point, we always knew Busta to lead with the rah-rah sing. So to hear him come on, hit you with Netherlands and what you saying, yo. Wait, what? Why do you sound like that?
Right.
Not to say I questioned it. It was just like, what is that? Why do I like it? My grandmother loved that record. And I don't think she would have loved that record if Busta came on with the rah-rah. So what Busta did was he found a way to stay true to himself, experiment, and cross over.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So go ahead. Whoever want to hot tag in.
Lex, you about to fire it off.
Yeah, because I actually watched, it was like a small interview where Busta actually talked about his reasoning for doing like that particular flow for the song. So he said he went to the studio and it was like Q-Tip and Puff. Yeah, and basically, you know, they were telling him, yo, like, you need to switch up your flow because like the ladies aren't going to like all that rah-rah stuff. Like, like basically you going into the club, like they don't always, you know, the ladies don't always want to hear that. So for him, and Busta's hilarious. I mean, you hear him talking about the story, but basically he was like trying to mimic like Puff. So essentially, he went into the booth, just trying to mimic him. Yeah, his laid back flow and everything. He just was like, you know, I'm going to do this more laid back, but then, you know, he's going to be like, you know, a bust, you know, like.
No, you know what's
like the way he said it, it was so funny because you hear him trying to mimic Puff Daddy on this joint, but it worked. Like it worked.
You know what's crazy? Because now I feel old. I didn't see that interview doing research for this episode. I saw that interview when it happened.
Wow.
Where he was. But when you said,
oh yeah, you old.
Nigga, all right. But yeah, it's like, dang, like we were 97, what was I, 12, 13?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I remember
I see you down there, Mo. I see you down there. We'll change your face. We about to put you on in a second.
I'm about to tag him right back in because it's funny that Lex brought out that he was with Q-Tip because as much as I hear him trying to mimic Puff, I hear Q-Tip. Q-Tip and Bus are synonymous with one another.
Right.
As much as he might have been trying to air quote mimic Puff, you're subconsciously doing what Q-Tip does.
Right.
The flow is a little bit more nasally. You're taking your time with it. Q-Tip enunciates really well. You know what I mean? So Mo, what you gotta say? I see you clamoring. Hot tag.
I saw that interview. I really did, and it was a show complex called Magnum Opus, where he was telling the same story, and he was trying to, he talked to his father as well. And he was like, nobody wants to, rah all the time. Like, you gotta slow it down sometimes. But yeah, so when I heard that, and I saw the clarity, it almost made me question if it was really Busta. Cause I didn't, we're used to the Dungeon Dragon. We're used to the coming so when he spit that out, I was like, is this Busta? Like, yeah. So I had to look at the album. I had to make sure because I questioned it because it sounds so different. But lyrically, like was said, he's trying to sound, not trying to sound, but he was doing what Q-Tip does, which is enunciating and sounding clear. You know what I mean? But also can't stop. You know what I mean?
Right. He was giving like that smooth sort of like, like that smooth sort of like energy that Puff would give on like a Biggie track.
No, and what's crazy is if you remember the video, him and Spliff are doing the Puff dance at the beginning. Like, it was no denying what was going on with that record.
Right. It was his way of like being funny, like and kind of like mocking it, but it worked. Like it worked.
Right. So while we sit here talking about trying to be funny and all that and being old, right? So Ree, you said you remember watching that interview live. Well, little known fact was Mo was actually the one holding the camera recording it. So you know what I'm saying, just to go ahead and put that out there. But
you gotta relax.
No, I can't get that.
You cannot.
I can't get that one. No, okay. All right. Hey, what they say? Don't unfriend me. Don't unfollow me. So far in this short conversation, right, if you, the people, you know what I'm saying, however you see, hearing, being absorbing this information, if you haven't gathered so far, we are talking about Busta Rhymes, Put Your Hands Where Your Eyes Could See, which was off his album, When Disaster Strikes. And the producers were Shy Mello, co-produced with Buddha, and I want to say Epitome was sprinkled in there a little bit as well, which was released in 97. Mm-hmm. They sampled Seals Crofts' Sweet Green Fields off of their album Get Closer, which was produced by Louis Shelton, which was released in 1976. And the first thing for me, you know, because y'all go left, I go right, y'all go right, I go left, and then when y'all keep moving forward, I stand still. So what I'm gonna do is go in a different direction. And Mo, you had made a point of like, yo, they sampled a folk song, and the first thing I thought of was Troy. When you know what I'm saying, Pete Rock and CL Smooth utilizing, you know what I'm saying, the Tom Scott track, because that's what the Tom Scott track made me feel like. To me, it was like it made me go into my folk hippie bag or whatever. And I feel the same way listening to Seals and Crofts or whatever. So I thought it was first of all, it was mind blowing, because Mo, when you was like, yo, I want to do and again, for all future guests, when we ask you to come on, y'all pick the track. You know what I'm saying? Y'all pick the song. We don't tell you what track. Yeah, y'all pick it, and we go ahead and do what we do, and we run with it. So when you said that, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Really? I gotta hear this.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I played it, I was like, oh wow, like, and the one thing that's synonymous is that, and I wish I could mimic it. I'm gonna try my best. That doom 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 doom.
And it hit every time.
And regardless of what,
any
regardless of which one you're listening to, it hits
every
the same way.
Yeah.
So I thought that was dope. I'm gonna dig into Seals and Crofts here in a second, because again, and again, my psychic ability and all of that, you know what I'm saying, was kind of working a little bit, but because I kind of studied it a little bit in college, but unfortunately I flunked out of the mind reading class or whatever. So but I kind of had a feeling that everybody was going to get excited about this Seals and Crofts portion of it. You know what I'm saying? So when y'all go that direction, of course, I'm going to take it the other direction. But let me just say this real quick, Rhea, and then I'm going to throw it to you, right? The very first, you asked, do you remember the first time when you heard the Busta track? Mm-hmm. And one of my first memories of that track, honestly, and I'm going to go ahead and put myself out there, I was scared. Because that joint kind of scared me a little bit. The little boy at the end, when he kind of before they break out into the Michael Jackson dance or whatever, the little boy, he got the short hair and they got the globe. Yo,
oh, you talking about the video? I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I'm talking about the video. Video. That mug kind of had me shook. So when BET late night, when that joint would come on, you know what I'm saying, I ain't gonna lie. After the good stuff was over, I think I changed the channel because I ain't want to see that. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel you. That was kind of creepy.
So I'm putting myself out there, whatever. But again, Rhea, I'm gonna go ahead.
No. So I'm hot tagging you specifically, because I'm piggybacking on a point that you made in pre-pro, and I want to make sure that we touch on it.
Okay.
A lot of Seals and Crofts music is rooted in their belief in the Baha'i faith.
Yes,
so what the correlation that I made between, I'm big on correlations between the original and the record that sampled it. Before I get into that though, I watched the interview with Buddha, and do you know they made that beat one day, and Mello and Buddha danced to it all night. By 7:30 the next morning, Busta Rhymes' road manager just happened to be stopping by.
Yeah, I saw that same time.
As an artist, Lex, you know how this goes. Sometimes you know when you got one,
right?
But you don't know 12 hours later. Like, it just feels good. Like,
right.
You just happen to flip the beat, and 12 hours later, it's going to one of the biggest artists in the world.
Right.
That's crazy to me. Anyway.
Yeah, it's wild.
If anybody who knows Busta knows what the 5%er Islam faith means to him. That's the correlation I draw between both records. Energy, right? Because so much of Seals and Crofts music was finding love and positivity and what's the line? Looking up the sleeve of confidence, I jumped down from the. I'm looking for you. You know what I mean? I'm looking for love. Like that's what that song is about. Putting positive energy out. Busta Rhymes is really big on positive energy. Like very rarely do you hear Busta put out something that's outright negative. Like he can get there,
right.
But Busta is very high energy.
Good time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And even when he's battling, it's humorous.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's the correlation I drew when I dug into Seals and Crofts and I understood like how much they help people convert over to the am I pronouncing it correctly? Baha'i?
I'm sure somebody in the comments are correct.
The Baha'i,
We'll just run with it. No disrespect though.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be. I'm just, freestyling it. But that faith and what it meant to them and what it meant to their music.
Right.
Mo, go jump back in there after Ree is finished.
Yeah, Shizz said that he feel, and I'm not sure if he said it while we were recording, but he definitely said it in pre-pro about how music doesn't have a face, and how music you channel so much of who you are as a person through your music, like where you're not trying to preach to people per se, but you end up you're delivering a message through your music.
Right.
And as much as I see that in Seals and Crofts, you really see it in Busta as well. If you dig into his albums, you see the same thing. Put your hands where my eyes can see. Yes, it's a club record, but that club record was to draw you to the album When Disaster Strikes. And he gets so heavy on that album. That's my favorite Busta Rhymes album, next to the Big Bang. But Mo, I don't want to Mo, Shizz, Lex, whichever one of you guys. I just wanted to make sure.
No, Mo, go ahead.
Oh, go in there.
No, I just, like I said before, it's just that sample, it's so ingenious and just to think that somebody was digging in the crate so deep to find, because like Shizz said, when that beat hits, you, no matter what you're doing, you go into the dance floor because it hits that hard and it evokes an emotion. So, every time I hear it, my wife was like, I don't know why you picked that song. Again, it's the emotion that comes with the song, and the sample is sick. And of course, Busta Rhymes, being the lyricist that he is, he even said in that interview, I was bouncing off the walls for 2 days before we wrote a bar, because he was enjoying the song. He was feeling it. He was dissecting it, where he was going to put every single word that he was going to say. Because what he wanted to do was come up with lyrics that people were going to say with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, that's like DiCaprio said, that's what he wants, positivity to come across the track.
Right.
And that's what he did with this track.
Let's take it.
Whew, man, I mean, so much good stuff being said. I actually want to touch upon Seals and Crofts,
of course,
because I wore my shirt kind of like like that yacht rock, sort of like I'm on the yacht drinking like my my margarita.
Miami Vice vibes going or something.
Miami Vice,
like my beach vibes going on, and I wanted to start that way because
that's why you have to remote location.
Right. She on an island somewhere.
All right.
But I wanted to start from that point of like, usually a band like this is considered yacht rock, like this label that kind of like encompasses more so like soft rock from like the 70s and 80s. And for me, a lot of times when we think about the artists and the music that comes under that umbrella, it's easy to think that either like their musicianship is kind of like subpar, or is this just like elevator music, or it's, there's nothing really like deep to listen to. There's no depth to the music. And what I find is that, it's easy to get hypnotized sort of by like the breezy vibe of it all. But when you really sit with these lyrics, when you really sit with the musicianship, you realize that there's so much,
it's heavy, so
much heart and soul and like beauty and like insight and enlightenment that you can get from a lot of these songs. And so Seals and Crofts, I actually downloaded their greatest hits. and I just listened to, you know, the songs that was on the particular album, and I was just like, every song for me, I just absolutely love. Their musicianship is incredible. The lyrics, the lyrical content is just like, you know, you have to listen to these songs repeatedly to really get what they're saying. And there's so much soulfulness in their music. And they are also in really creative, because you'll hear some of the songs and like the changes that they do like, musically is
my God.
Crazy.
Let me speak on that real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, for y'all, because and Mo, if you don't know, right? And I say a singer, songwriter, producer, lyricist, and all that, because these two actually do it, and that's why I enjoy doing this with them so much, because they know the behind the scenes, the language, the business side of it, the musical language, like they know this stuff, and they when we're talking it, I think it's always dope, because we have almost as if like that, we have the singer side of it and we have the lyricist side of it, so we get two different aspects, but it always come back to the same thing, the musicianship of it. Now my definition for it, and I'm just a super fan of these two, and then obviously music. So for me, the musicianship of it, and how I'm understanding it right now, or how I'm going to and explain it in my opinion, is I watched a YouTube clip with Seals Crofts and Glenn Campbell. Now they were formerly in a group, right, called the Champs, but they joined a group later. I want to say in like 59 and 60 or something like that, right? Well, the group the Champs had a track titled Tequila, and most people may not think about it, but it's well, so I say that because now I said those two joined a group afterwards, so they weren't credited for, you know what I'm saying, performing on it or anything. They really had nothing to do with it, but they did they performed it in this clip, and it was like a melody. It was like Tequila, and I'm gonna get to this one too. Black Mountain Rag is what it was called, and then Summer Breeze. And I don't want to go off topic of it, but
yeah,
I'm blown, because if somebody say, hey, what's one of the hardest Isley tracks you've ever heard? Oh, man, Summer Breeze, that's my joint. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, well, did you know that Summer Breeze wasn't their track? And it's like,
no. So I said this in a recent episode, I don't remember which one, and I'm gonna say it again here. That's why I don't have an issue with sampling. Covers have been going around forever.
Oh yeah.
Sampling is just an extension of what a cover is. And it's on, dog. So when, full disclosure, when we do research for these episodes, I typically listen to the sample or the original record. I listen to it at night. So when Lex was saying you get caught up in you get hypnotized by the melodies, you don't always realize how deep it is. When I heard the rabbit hole I went down just last night alone, just off Seals Crofts record, I dug into their daughters. Their daughters are in a band together called the Hummingbirds.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like so, and then Seal's brother is England. It was England Dan, like that.
Wow.
When it comes to music, and you see how extensive it is, and we always talk about sonic ancestry. That's the definition of sonic ancestry.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's so easy to get lost in how beautiful music is, and the same thing goes for Busta Rhymes. You know what I mean? Hip hop is beautiful in its very own way. Like, Mo made a really good point about how hip hop isn't it's black music, but it's not black music, right? It's not rooted in black music because of the samples that we have to pull from. But music is so universal, I can pull from anything and give you a class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. Let me jump back, right? As far as the musicality and all of that.
Yeah.
I would definitely I'd be remiss if I didn't say, referring back to that YouTube clip with John Seals. Oh, hold on, let me make sure I'm saying his name right. James Eugene Jim Seals. I had to say his whole name because in this performance, right, they started off on a sax. He started off on a saxophone, tore that joint up. But then when he transitioned to the fiddle,
oh baby,
yo, when I say he destroyed that thing,
nah,
I wanted to get a piece of hay, stick it in there. I wanted to get my straw hat, and I wanted to get my bluegrass on real quick, like him saying, I'm trying to get busy because, but that has to speak to the talent of not just him, but both of these gentlemen to be able to transition, you know what I'm saying, and do it without even missing a beat. And Mo, I want to pass it back to you before I give Rita mic back.
This is just a quick thought. This is for you and Mo. I'm gonna send you guys their soundstage performance. It was Seals and Crofts, England Dan, and a black artist by the name of, I want to say, is it Walter Heath? Hold on, I put it in my note just to let y'all know. Yeah, Walter Heath. Dog, that's a jam session. The clip is about 45 minutes long. They were on there getting busy. I almost forgot to take notes because I just got lost in the music. But yeah, I'll send that to y'all later.
Right, Mo, go get in there.
So it's dope that you talk about, you know, transitioning from instrument to instrument, because that transition speaks volumes. Because look at where the track that we're talking about, where, you know, they're able to create sound using, you know, freestyling instruments. And here comes Busta Rhymes, a well-known worldwide hip hop artist, taking that sample and now sharing that with the hip hop world. That's a transition that now you're introducing another type of music to hip hop fans. Now they're gonna go and listen to that.
Right.
Yo, it's funny you say that, right? Because when I was listening to Seals and Crofts, of course we're talking about the Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See sample. So on Tidal, I'm listening to it. Don't you know it transitions when I'm listening to the Seals and Crofts version, it transitions seamlessly into the track that was sampled for Woo Ha.
Lex, go. I see you. I see you.
I'll wait.
Go.
Nah, I was just talking about like how seamless the sample for Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See transitioned into the sample for Woo Ha, I Got You All in Check.
And now we're going to transition from his thought and transition to your thought.
That was cool. I think about two thoughts. First one, I watched a video where Joe, I believe his name is Joe Smith. At the time, he was the president of Warner Brother Records. And he was basically introducing the world to Seals and Crofts, and they were doing, a live performance of, some of their music. And to have like the president of Warner Brother Records basically say like how amazing you are as a band is incredible. Like, I don't know how often we really see that, the presidents of companies really going out of their way to introduce artists. Maybe that was a thing they did back in the day and it was pretty regular, but it was surprising to me. So that shows me that they garnered so much respect from the people, that they worked with. And the second thing is, I always think about how when these artists are making this music, they never I'm pretty sure, I can safely assume that they don't know how their music will contribute or was going to contribute to the furthering of another genre of music. I mean, you have this band from basically the 70s who created like this dope behind like drum pattern, like the drums, the bass, like even the guitar.
Yeah.
Like when you listen to it and really, and that was of course, Mo, I think you said it, the ingenuity from the producers that heard it, right? Because I mean, as we talk about this, as we talk about the producers on the show, you know, is really having an ear, like is your ingenuity and really having an ear and being able to pick up on these pieces and songs to use it for something new. And having them actually hear this, like this piece, and use it as a loop essentially for a song, you know, it was incredible. But I'm pretty sure Seals and Crofts wasn't thinking, you know, like beyond what they created for Sweet Green Fields, because Sweet Green Fields essentially it's a beautiful song, but even in their own musicality, like when we think about just the song in and of itself, that joint is hard. Like that joint is hard. And I think like when I listen to their other songs, I realized they're incredibly soulful. And you have a lot of bands like that. It's why the 70s is one of my favorite generations of music.
Cheat code.
Definitely a cheat code, because you hear these musicians with these like drums and with like the bass and it's so groovy, it's so funky, but it's also really hard hitting. It gives you like, and the drums aren't like, when we think about it, the drums aren't all over the place. It's not really crazy. It's pretty much in the pocket. Yeah. You know, everything is kind of in the pocket. But the thump of everything, it just works so well. And I think that's why it worked for Busta Rhymes, because he knows how to be in that pocket of the song. Like, yeah, he can be all over the place, but like he also showed his versatility, you know, by taking on a song like this and really kind of containing his energy in a sense for this particular song. And it just worked out.
So what we're going to do is go ahead and jump into these final thoughts, because we can talk about this all night and all weekend.
All night.
Mr. Mo, what you got, sir?
So, first of all, thank you for inviting me. I love talking about hip hop. Me and Shizz have done it. I mean, that was our coping mechanism, you know, in Kuwait when we were, and even in Oklahoma when we were there. But this is something that I love to do. My wife is much better at this than me, believe it or not. Because one of the samples that we discussed, and I don't want to take up too much time, but my wife and I was Mobb Deep, Got It Twisted. That was sampled, Blinded Me With Science. It's an 80s track. And you would have never put those two together.
All right, so here's the thing. You and your wife got to come on so we can discuss that.
Hey, I was going to say a couples episode.
Hey, let's get it. Let's get it.
You already know.
Yeah, got it. But no, thank you for real for inviting me. This is first for me. And again, you know, like I said, it was a little intimidating, but thank you for making me comfortable and allowing me to, you know, express my, I don't know, nerdness about music, because I'm aside fellow nerds, which is great.
Right. Reed, what you got? Final thoughts, sir?
You know what I always say. Thank you. I'm always grateful to creatives. I'm always thankful to artists for putting their all into their music. What you're doing is you're making music that makes people feel good, but you're putting your values into the music. You're putting your values into the world, which is why the first thing I said on this episode was drawing the correlation between the faith. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The 5%ers and the Baha'i faith is different, but somehow there's a happy marriage between what Seals and Crofts stood for and what Busta Rhymes stands for. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's so much deeper than music. You know what I mean? So I'm just glad that Mo picked this, because the perspective I ended up gaining from researching is just phenomenal.
Okay. Good thoughts. And finals for me, right? I want to definitely give a shout out to Ron Norseworthy and Busta Rhymes, because they came up with the concept for the video, you know what I'm saying, from just happening to see Coming to America being on TV, just happening to see it on TV. So shout out, because that was definitely a dope video, and I'd definitely be remiss not to mention that video in the whole grand scheme of the Put Your Hands Where My Eyes Can See track. And then also shout out to Seals and Crofts, because not for nothing, their music, for whatever reason, wasn't well received at during a certain period due to their faith. So again, shout out to all parties involved, and shout out to them for, you know what I'm saying, for sticking to what, you know what I'm saying, their core values was, putting that into their music and knowing that the people that need to gravitate and hear it are going to do that. But then shout out to Mello and the gang, because they heard it and they dug and took it, and, you know what I'm saying, like Mo said, it helped. Now we've expanded it because it's reaching the masses now to another spectrum, and now they're gaining or garnering more fans and listening ears due to a hip-hop sample. So yeah, shout out to all parties involved. So with all that being said, Lex, go ahead and drop your bars, please.
And before I drop my bars, I want to say one thing. We brought up Lewis Shelton really quickly, but we didn't speak on Lewis Shelton. And he was actually the producer for the song as well as the album Get Closer for Seals and Crofts. And the one thing I want to say about him is that he was a guitarist and he was a producer, but he was also a part of the famous or infamous, LA musician or session musician group, which was called the Wrecking Crew. And the Wrecking Crew, one person was involved in the Wrecking Crew who we talked about before, Don Randy. Remember Don Randy? We talked about him. Yeah. So, go back to our previous episode. We had talked about
Axel Rod and
Right.
Black Star Respiration.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it just shows you the connectivity and the power and the energy of what was going on, during that time. So much good music, so many, great samples that, we're still hearing to this day. So, definitely thank you to Mo for joining us. Thank you all for listening and joining in the conversation. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to let us know what songs and samples you want us to talk about next. Leave them in the comments. And as always, stay tuned for the next episode.
Can do. I just want to say, I challenge anybody out there. Can't nobody mess with her earring game. I promise you. I promise. Yeah. No, them joints gotta be made of adamantium or something, or vibranium or something. Cause I don't know how your ears hold on to them things.
Yeah, she definitely dressed like she crossed the border with Push.
Right. Yeah, moving keys.
Right.
Infrared.
Infrared.
Right.